Freedom is a state of mind. Friday, July 4, 2025. It is 10 a.m. and I'm on Coronado Island in San Diego. Beautiful, sunny San Diego. Welcome to Maim Time, a show about overcoming identity struggle for the Asian diaspora. Does that even make sense? It's my birthday. I'm a Korean American immigrant born on July 4, and there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about, but let's go back in time for a sec. I'm going to make some crazy, cheeky leaps here. We're talking about freedom, from political freedom to philosophical and spiritual freedom, so get ready for another long birthday reflection stream of consciousness episode. On July 4, we celebrate America's independence, political freedom. But I interpret the Founding Fathers' call to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in a very spiritual way. True liberty isn't just being able to do what you want. It's being free from what controls you. It doesn't come from governments or society, but from your own mind and soul. From Marcus Aurelius to Nelson Mandela, from Buddhist monks in meditation to revolutionaries in prison cells, humanity has always known this deep truth. Freedom is a state of mind. Earlier, right before this recording, I just ran a 12K race on the island. Shout out to the Crown City Classic and Easy Day Sports. I hit a PR of 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 37 seconds, right? That's 12K, 12,000 meters, or 7.2 miles. The endorphins are still kicking, and I'm cramping, and I'm sitting in my car recording this. Let me just note, if you can find a parking spot on Coronado Island on the 4th of July, you can do anything. One day in your life, you gotta spend July 4 on Coronado Island. They have a huge parade, events. It's awesome. Everyone's dressed in red, white, and blue. It's super cool. Anyways, I'm running the 12K. I'm in the zone. And the thought keeps coming to me. Freedom is a state of mind. And as soon as I finish this race and take pictures and get the medal and come back to my car, I gotta record this episode on my birthday. Independence Day celebrates when the American colonies declared independence from the British Empire on July 4, 1776, to become free and independent states. If you haven't read the Declaration of Independence before, or it's just been a long time, you should read it. It's really an inspiring and beautifully written text like poetry. You can Google it, or maybe I'll put the link to it in the episode description. Can you imagine the ragtag organized militia of the New World overthrowing an oppressive empire? The underdogs winning? For what it's worth, it's one of the greatest stories in human history. Educated free men, armed with the sharpest ideas, had the balls to demand independence from a corrupt, overbearing power. The finest and most powerful philosophical underpinnings to birth one of mankind's greatest countries. Fast forward to today. It's 2025. It's ironic, tragic, considering a couple hundred years later, we are all now having to pay taxes and compulsion, taxation without representation, under the American empire that once threw off the British Empire, barely able to afford housing and the cost of living. It's like that Dark Knight quote, you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain, but on a geopolitical historical scale. Now we're subjects of the new Roman Empire, living in what might be its decline. Side note, we was Romans. What does that mean for us now in our day-to-day lives? To me, because those original colonists fought and died for what they believed in, and people like me have the great privilege of growing up in the USA, I want to honor those people. The Founding Fathers, the original OG colonists. I believe that the spirit of freedom still lives, and we carry on their legacy. In spite of being corrupted by modernity and capitalism, we bear a tradition of self-determinism, independence, the ability to choose how to live your life. From that, we have all this rich history, dark and beautiful, stretched over a couple centuries, ideals of human prosperity and felicity, rugged individualism, self-reliance in the style of Ralph Waldo Emerson. At least these are the ideals, and the central tenet is freedom. Are we really free? Free in what way? What is freedom? Let's sit with that for a cheeky bit. Really, the idea of freedom, the ideals of freedom, and what it means deserves its own podcast. I wonder if there's a podcast out there called like the Freedom Podcast. Not like an American patriotic podcast necessarily, but like about the ideas of freedom itself. Physical freedom, political freedom, emotional or spiritual freedom. What is freedom? Freedom to pursue a career, build a powerful body, find a mate, have children. Freedom to create art and affect change in the world. Freedom to eat a bunch of chocolate chip cookies, play video games, and be a bum all day. Free to do whatever you want. Free to say what's on your mind. And what do you do in an unfree world? Or in a situation where you're not free to speak your mind? Maybe you're in prison. Maybe you're trapped in the gulags. Maybe you feel trapped in certain circumstances that no one else can understand, and nobody cares about you. You're all alone. Maybe you have an unjust boss or ruler over you, and you can't speak up because to do so would risk your livelihood when you have a family to support. So you just shut up and take it. And worse, what happens if you've trapped yourself in a certain situation in life by the consequences of your own actions? And what if you have no one to blame in life but yourself? Not the government, not Russia or China, not some other ethnicity or race or state actor, not the Republicans or the Democrats, not your mom or your dad. What if I told you? What if I told you? Like Morpheus, your outer world is a reflection of the inner world. What does it mean to be a Chinese billionaire when you are not free to speak your mind, beholden to the CCP? Are you really free, even with all that money? You might have power, but are you really free? What does it profit a man to gain the whole world yet lose his soul? What if you're the emperor of Rome as Marcus Aurelius, ruling for 19 long years? Was he a free man with the weight of the world on his shoulders? Instead of dealing with plagues and the barbarians at the gates and the subjects all wanting shit from him, he probably just wanted to farm and read books. He wasn't free from his post as ruler of the known world, but he knew as long as he sought virtue as its own reward and to find what doing the right thing meant and did it, he was free in his mind. I don't know where I heard this, but it's been running through my head. Freedom is a state of mind. Dear listeners, can you tell me where it comes from? To make sense of it all, I asked ChatGPT where this saying, freedom is a state of mind, comes from. And this is what I got. Freedom is a state of mind does not have a single known origin, but it draws from a long lineage of philosophical, religious, and political thought that spans across East and West. It's a modern aphorism of ideas that echoes key ideas from several historical thinkers and traditions. Number 1, Stoic philosophy, ancient Greece and Rome. Epictetus, a slave-turned philosopher, who says, "You may fetter my leg, but my will not even Zeus can overpower." His discourses and Enchiridion emphasize that true freedom is control over one's inner state, not external circumstances. And of course, there's Marcus Aurelius, the Roman Empire. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. From Meditations, which I love. I love meditations. Everyone should read Meditations. But I already said that in another episode. Number 2, Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist. In Man's Search for Meaning, he writes, "Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." This deeply echoes the idea that freedom is rooted in the inner life. Number 3, Nelson Mandela. Imprisoned for 27 years, he said, "I am not truly free if I am taking away someone else's freedom. The oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity." And let me add a couple more relevant quotes. "Even behind prison walls, I can see the heavy clouds and the blue sky over the horizon. And as I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." Nelson Mandela's reflections underscore that mental liberation can happen even when physically captive. Number 4, religious and spiritual teachings. Buddhism. Liberation, or nirvana, is achieved through mental mastery and detachment. In Christianity, as in Apostle Paul in prison, he speaks of spiritual freedom through faith, not circumstance. He was in prison under the Roman guard for what he believed in, right? And so he found freedom in Christ, right? What a powerful mental, philosophical, spiritual idea, right? To be free even in chains, even in persecution for what you believe in. And there's Taoism. The Tao is freedom from attachment and ego, freedom as a flow of being. Number 5, modern usage. The exact phrase, freedom is a state of mind, likely emerged in the 20th century in popular media, motivational writing, and perhaps countercultural or spiritual circles such as 1960s and 70s self-help, New Age, or political philosophy. It's a convenient modern condensation of ancient truths that external freedom is hollow without internal freedom. And even in bondage, one can be free within. Freedom is a state of mind. Basically, it doesn't matter where you are, who you are, what body you were born into, whatever your life circumstances may be, what parents raised you, or what ethnicity or culture you were born in. Whether you're born in North or South Korea, whether you grew up in the United States of America or the People's Republic of China, freedom is not the state. It's definitely not the state, but it's a state of mind. Even if you're in prison, you could be free in the mind, supposedly. I'm not speaking from experience. I say all this shit, but if I were in prison, would I be able to Nelson Mandela my way to personal peace and liberation? I don't know. Could I redeem myself from Shawshank? I like to think so. The shackles, the matrix is in your own mind. We are born into Plato's cave, thinking we know the world around is all that there is, when there are dimensions of human experience we can't even comprehend. I can go on and on and on. Freedom really deserves its own podcast. There's a spiritual teaching that helps me when I'm going through a hard time. Life is either a prison or a classroom. You can choose to frame it as a prison or a classroom. You can frame it as you're here to learn something, and you're going to suffer anyways. We all suffer. We all feel like pieces of shit, and we're alone and miserable deep down inside. But what if it's a classroom? Why don't you try to learn what you can? And maybe we can know that the keys are inside you. They're inside me. They're inside us. The key to liberation, the keys to freedom, is within our own mind. You can't stop the Federal Reserve from printing more money. You can't bring down the price of housing and the cost of living down to what it was post-World War II when the American dream was still a thing, if that was ever a thing. You can't influence geopolitical events on your own. you most likely don't have that kind of power. You can't change an estranged family member who won't listen to you from doing crazy stuff, no matter how much you reason, beg, or plead, or yell. And I'm not saying you should or shouldn't give your all to some great political cause, or should or shouldn't seek to effect change in this world. You should definitely do all that you can to live the best life you can and strive to define and live a good life for yourself. 100%. Like, I'm all about that, right? I'm all about change and growth. But what I'm saying is, what matters most is you try to control your own mind. Freedom is a state of mind. Deep down inside the universal heart of mankind, we all seek this thing called freedom. I wish freedom for everyone and for you to find that for yourself. And if you reach the promised land, send me a postcard. Better yet, let's have a video call. You can show me around. No state can make you free. No government and no empire can take it away. It's you versus your own mind. That's the real battlefield. That's the real struggle in life. You don't need to post a flag emoji to prove anything. Just be honest with yourself for one moment. Where in your life do you still feel shackled? And what would it feel like to finally be free? To accept it, to let it go. Freedom is a state of mind. In closing, as I've rambled on and on, I love this country so much. I was born on the 4th of July, and my family moved here when I was a 1-year-old baby, and I'm super grateful, in spite of all its imperfections, to have grown up here and to be back here again. I don't care what your political beliefs are or where you come from. If you were born or raised here, you're my brother or sister, and we're here thanks to the founding fathers and thanks to our ancestors. I believe in the ideals of freedom, treating our fellow man and woman with respect and dignity as equals before God. We're all brothers and sisters on a journey to find our way home. So just remember this. Whenever you feel like you're trapped, whenever you feel oppressed or misunderstood or violated by a government or your boss or coworkers or your parents or your friends, whenever you feel life or nature or God is against you, remember this: freedom is a state of mind, and it's free for all mankind. Freedom is a state of mind, and it's free to all mankind. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. I miss you and I love you. You know who you are. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. Happy birthday, America. I love you, and I always will. This is Maim Time, signing off from Coronado, San Diego. Thank you so much for listening.